One of the biggest things I hear from gym owners is that they want to try Facebook ads, but they don't have a big enough budget. And the good news is you don't need a huge ads budget to start. So with the gyms that we typically run, we're going to spend anywhere from $50 to $150 a day, but you don't have to start there. In fact, the minimum that you can get started for, I would say, is around $20 a day. So in this video, I'm going to show you, if you're on a low budget, how to make that work, how to start getting profitable immediate results so that you can eventually scale up later on. So $20 a day is not going to be enough to run 10 different ads, 5 different ad sets, and all the other complicated stuff you probably see big advertisers doing. And that's where a lot of gym owners go wrong. I see them often take a strategy designed for someone who's spending thousands every day, and they try and run it on a beginner's budget. So if you do that, you're going to spread your money across too many ads. Not enough is going to get the spend. You're not going to then collect any data. And you're then going to think that Facebook ads don't work. So the problem is not the small budget. The problem is spreading that small budget too thin. All right. Now, my rule is pretty simple. I want to put around $10 per day behind every ad you want to test, right? So think about that, $10 per day per ad you want to run. So $10 for one advert gives that advert enough reach for us to start getting useful data quickly. So basically then at $20 a day, that means we can properly test 2 ads against each other. Split testing different ads is the cornerstone of successful advertising. So therefore $20 a day allows us to start with 2 ads. And at this stage, that's all we need. The goal is not to scale yet. The goal is to find something that works. It's to prove your funnel numbers and then scale it from there. So let me show you exactly what this looks like when we implement this with a brand new gym. So over here, let's say we're working with a brand new studio. They only want to pay $20 a day. Okay, no problem. We're then going to make 2 different ads. We're going to put $10 a day behind one and another $10 behind the other one, right? That lets us see very quickly in probably less than 24 hours, do any of these leads get us any results? All right. So again, the mistake here is trying to spread $20 across 10 different ads. It's not going to work because Meta is going to try and split that budget. And if you have $20 across 10 ads, theoretically, you're looking at, $1 to $2 per ad. So the ad is only going to reach a couple of hundred people, and you're not going to know if it worked or not. So how it would work then is like this. We say follow the money. In a typical week, if you're going to put $20 a day, then over the course of a week, you're going to look to spend about $140, right? I don't look at this in terms of daily metrics because the numbers are too small. So you have to zoom out and look at over 1 week what's going to happen. And you have to commit, I think, to the full week, at least $140 ad spend to really make a judgment call. So let's say you do that. Over a week, you spend $140 test budget. That's about $20 a day. And then let's say then you'd be looking to get probably around 10 leads. That would be a $14 CPL. You might get less than that. You might get more than that. But let's just say that's the average. Typical average lead cost for us is about $8 to $20. So if you're within that range, you're going to be okay. Now, if you're using an optimized follow-up system, then out of 10 leads, you'll be able to get about 4 bookings on the calendar, at least, maybe more. Most gym owners are not able to do this because they don't have the right follow-up system. They don't have ads that qualify people. I'm not going to go into that in this video. There'll be other videos on the page you can see to learn how to do that. But again, assuming you've got a good follow-up system, you're getting in touch with your leads, you should be able to book 4 appointments out of 10 leads in a week. Out of that, then, if you expect a 50% show rate, if you're doing the right reminder sequences, RSVP, double confirmations, you'll get at least 2 people showing up. And that's enough for you to close 1 out of 2. That's only a 50% close rate. and you should then get one new client. How much do you make? Well, we recommend the minimum you charge is going to be $500 for a front-end program. So that would mean for that week, you're looking to spend roughly about $140 in and get at least $500 out. That would be an approximate 3.5x ROAS. ROAS means return on ad spend. So it means you're making 3.5 times more back in cash collected at the end of the week or before the end of the week based on what you put in. And that would be a very nice, good starting point. However, what you see though is that this number, the money back and the ROAS, really depends more on what happens after you get the lead, right? So getting cheap leads is not the only thing. You've also got to look at, are they booking? Are they showing? Are they closing? And that's why running ads alone is never going to help you. You have to look at the whole holistic client acquisition system. All these parts have to work together. You need an offer you can sell for $500 easily. You need to be able to get a good close rate with the right sales structure. You need to get the show up rate with the right reminder sequence. You need to get enough booking with the right follow-up system. And you need to be getting good quality leads, somewhere in the region of $10 to $20 each. So if you're doing all those steps, then making a 3 to 5x return on ad spend every single week is completely doable. Okay, and that's the minimum metrics that we hit in all our gyms. So the scaling principle then is you want to run a test like this, give it a week, find out what works, and find out what is not working in your setup. Okay, all the answers you need are going to be contained within these numbers. So the first check is, did you get enough leads at a decent cost per lead? Okay, if you did, check. Go to the next step. Did you book at least 40% of those leads on the calendar? If you didn't book that many, then you've got an issue with your booking system, or it could be your lead quality. But again, if you did that, check it off. The next metric, did you get at least 50% of those bookings to show up? If not, there's something missing in your communication between the time they book in and when they show up. Then, did you close at least 60% of the people you spoke to in person? If you didn't, then it means there's a problem with your sales. And did you collect at least $500 for your offer? If not, the offer isn't that premium, isn't that valuable. So you find what works and what is not working, find the bottlenecks in your funnel, or the leaks, the leakage, as we say. Where is the funnel leaking money? Once you achieve all that, you prove the profitability. Once you're hitting a 2 to 3x ROAS, you can actually start reinvesting to scale that up. So for example, if I achieved these metrics here in the first week and I put 140 in, I made $500 out. What I would then do, I wouldn't go crazy and start putting $1,000 a day in and think I'm going to be a millionaire. No, I wouldn't do that. Maybe in my earlier days I would, but not anymore. What I would do if you hit those kind of numbers, what I would then do in week 2 would be to start the scaling slowly. So I would then go in week 2 to maybe putting $30 a day, up from $20 to $30, or even $35 or $40. And where's that extra money coming from? Well, I'm going to take it out of this $500 that I collected. So I would take another $100 out of this $500, add that into my testing budget for week 2, and then slowly scale it up. So now we run $40 a day. And then again, you run the same metrics. If you run $40 a day, that's going to be $280 a week, right? And if you hit the same metrics, like the same cost per lead, 280 would give you 20 leads. Then you'd be able to get 8 bookings, 4 show-ups, and at least 2 sales. So you then see in week 2, you're putting 280 in and you're making $1,000 back. So we would then scale that up week by week, keeping a close eye on these metrics until we're roughly at about $100 a day. or whatever amount you need to hit a consistent 3 to 5 sales every week. That's the magic number. That's the minimum standard that all our gyms produce, is 3 to 5 sales a week at around about $500 collected. So therefore, you should be collecting $1,500 to $2,000 every single week in front-end cash, which is about $8,000 a month. So we do 6 figures per gym only on front-end sales, and then we build our recurring revenue from there. And that's how we scale up. So again, you don't need a giant budget to start. I think this proves that. You just need enough budget to find out what works, start small, track the numbers, and then start scaling what works. And again, if you want my help personally to look at this with you, I can help you select the right ads. I can review your follow-up and booking system. I can review your sales close. I can review your offer. And in one simple call in 15 minutes, I can find all the bugs in your system, and I can probably double or triple your performance at every stage. If you'd like to do that, you can find the link below. Jump in on a call. It's not a sales pitch. It's honestly just for me to get to know your gym, see what things I would change if I owned your gym right now. And then if you do want help for us installing all of this or doing it for you, then we can talk about those options.